Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo has raised concerns over the incarceration of over 26,000 children in the nation's custodial centers, describing the situation as alarming. According to him, the figure accounts for 30% of the total inmates population in correctional facilities across the country. Tunji-Ojo, who called for urgent reforms in Nigeria's criminal justice system to protect vulnerable groups, spoke at a high-level interagency stakeholder meeting in Abuja on Wednesday. A statement by the Director of Press at the Ministry of Interior, Ozoya Imohimi, quoted the minister as saying approximately 26,000 children are held in correctional facilities annually, representing over 30% of the total inmates population. These statistics raises serious concerns regarding child protection laws. The presence of children in custodial centers violates existing laws mandating their placement in hostile institutions for proper reformation in line with their age. He assured that breaches of these laws would be investigated, warning that institutions failing to comply would face consequences. He also reiterated the federal government's commitment to reforming the correctional system, particularly focusing on the growing number of children in custody. The minister disclosed plans to establish a Nigerian paramilitary academy to train correctional officers on empathy and rehabilitation principles, emphasizing the need for non-custodial measures for non-violent offenders. He stressed the importance of interministerial collaboration and urged state government to actively participate in efforts to address juvenile detention. Well, I thought this should actually be called a juvenile detention because in developed countries, Nigeria is considered a developing country. In developed countries, this is where they have put the juvenile, they have the juvenile center for the underage offenders for some period of time, and I think it's just for some period of time. They're not really literally being kept there for depending on the offense. Let's say for the murder case, and they leave the child there in the juvenile center until the child becomes to become of age for judgments. Then they transfer the child to the correctional the prison center. You know, I have not been to a prison yet, a prison correctional center to experience this to firsthand. But if this is actually the situation in the country, then this is a sad one. Imagine having an underage child with a 30-year-old man in the same room and with different crimes. I want to get your thoughts on this. What should you make out of this, please?
First and foremost, this news, I don't think it's a correct news. Correct in the sense that would have been excited to hear that in the course of training of officers in the correctional centers, this was nipped in the bud. Or we are saying that someone is being punished. A government official is being punished because it's all about government. If it's not the police, it is the army or any security agency that unilaterally, just because of their office or their uniforms, arrested children there, or a local government chairman, a governor, a public officer that used his office or his power to just carry children for one crime or the other and threw them into the already established correctional centers that should not be because they are underage. And if you're talking about 30%, you can imagine in your mind the level of or the pace at which young or underage children are being arrested and thrown into the prison or into the correctional centers. So if we had said this news is as a result of a punishment that is being meted on someone that had violated the laws or provisions of the law, then it would have been a lot more easier for us to connect with. But it's a pity that we are talking about it from the standpoint that it is about a data we are collating. In the course of collating these data, were we not able to investigate and ask these kids or look at the files to know who brought them in and what brought them into the correctional centers? And when we had done that, we would have gone a step further very quickly, swiftly, in an organized society, in a serious-minded organization, where we would have said 1 person or 10 persons or over 26,000 let's say out of 26,000, let me say even if it is 40 people that have been arraigned now for abuses of the laws of the land. These are clear laws. Underage are not supposed to be thrown into correctional centers for any reason whatsoever. We talk about civil societies, we talk about lawyers, we talk about just name it, organizations that come out to say they're advocating for the rights of the Nigerian populace, be it, just name it, from any walks of life. But in the course of what the report we just heard now, it is just a data report. Let it be that the minister is working. For me, he just went around to say he's working, because we've seen ministers who come out to tell the world that a certain set of people can do nothing. So if a minister has that kind of power to make such bogus statements and goes like nothing happened, Nigerians move on, then the minister says he sees this as an issue or an affront to the democracy that we have, or to the rights or privileges of the underage Nigerians, and nothing was done. And all we just heard now is the fact that the minister came out to say going forward there will be punishments and all. What has happened to those that has put these children? Because let me tell you, these children have been put in harm's way. I've been to the Nigerian correctional centers again and again. There is no one that I can say comfortably that any normal sane person can stay there for a full day without having some level of traumatic experiences that he has to come out from. It's a place that is completely jam-packed, overfilled with persons. And because it is completely jam-packed, too many nefarious and funny activities occur there. There was a time, I think it was on this, we discussed it on this station and the sister stations as well. We'll talk about people who left the correctional center in Warri and went to commit crime, robbed someone, and came back and to that same correctional center. And people, investigation was on that issue. So whether we like it or yes, the correctional center is not supposed to be meant for underage. You understand? Because if you like it or whether you accept it or not, they are being exposed to things that they should not be.
Yeah.
And for me, as a person, I want to condemn in totality, join the minister to condemn it. However, I want the minister to do more, because for me, it's just an organization of talk.
Okay, do more in what sense? Like, what should be done in that aspect? Since you talked about the congestion of this inmates in the prison, in the correctional center. What should the minister do in that instance with the underage and the grown-up inmates?
What I think the minister should do, first and foremost, I think there's a place for juveniles that should be able to.
Do we have one in this country?
I think there are. I think there are places for them.
Okay.
But if they are not, I think that's the line, the direction the minister should be looking at.
Okay.
Because whether you like it or not, the underage in Nigeria today, they are exposed to so much, and the kind of crimes that they commit, they cannot just be patted in the back and allowed to go home. One way or the other, they should be placed in a place that they can be equally being teleguided to grow rightly. And until that is done, I want to say that if we want to talk about the correctional centers being overpopulated and congested, that would be another discussion for another day. But staying on this particular discussion, I want to say that the minister should, first and foremost, begin to arraign officers and public officers, security personnel and public officers who collaborated to see to it that these children are put in there. Because against all our laws, this is not acceptable. It is wrong. And if it is wrong by all our standards and all our laws, I think it is important and imperative that the minister should do the needful. That is why it's there. It's not about just looking at this, nipping at the problems. Because only for us from this end, we are already doling at the problems to him. And if he has gotten this kind of statistics, I think something should be done. By now, we should have been seeing officers and public security of personnel and public officers that have been arraigned on account of these misbehaviors.
Okay, thank you, Comrade Chuba. He also made mention about the reforms, about training these officers on empathy, in order to know how to treat these offenders. I've seen one or two cases about how this prison warders treats most of the inmates, and let's look at a case where there are underage children in these correctional facilities, and they are being treated likewise the older age. The traumatic experiences that it causes. No one is saying it's okay to commit crime, but after the mistake has been done, putting worst pen how do I put this? Puts it being hard on them. I really don't feel that's actually the right way to go about it. What do you think, aside the reform of training those officials, these officers on empathy, to groom their empathy level, what else should be done in that aspect?
You see, very quickly and very truthfully, it is, we have Nigerian graduates who have no jobs. They had the opportunity of spending 4 years in school, and when you're given a certificate, you say you are given a certificate for character and learning. Now, there's a level of character formation that one would have expected that an average Nigerian graduate should possess. So it is important to stress this point. We should not be talking about that. It shouldn't make news that we're going to be training prison warders to have empathy and for professionalism. It should be a standard. What we should be talking about is that people are being punished for not observing this standard. They are international standards already. You understand my point? So what we should be talking about right now is that we should be stressing the point for the people to know that every prison warder, this prison warder was punished for not observing the norms and the standards and regulations as stipulated. Not telling us, it is not news that you want to start training them. We're not supposed to train them in the first place, even before on the job, before you get them involved. That is one. Two, when these people have been trained, what is the process of ensuring that their trainings, they are implementing their trainings? Then if there is no process, then the minister has to work out a modality. It's not enough to have 32 aides, 34 aides that we used to see them have. Special advisor, senior special advisor, junior advisor, all assistants, all of them are there. What are their jobs? If they are not in line to support the ministry function, then it is a waste of public funds. We have already said that the government public system is already overbloated. However you look at it, it's what it is. And for the Nigerian kind of democracy and policies that we have, that's the only way you settle political supporters. And at the end of the day, we have seen it has become a norm. We are living with it. However, it is imperative to note that there should be a process of checkmating these officers, knowing if what they have been tutored or what they've been taught have been implemented on the job. And on that same trajectory, it is imperative for us to start looking at the caliber of people we employ. It is not enough to say it is our quota, so let us bring 40 people that are in the farms doing their jobs. They don't even have, some of them. There are some officers, I make bold to say, there are some officers that cannot read and write. You give them your particulars, they are looking at it bare. And you know that they cannot even pronounce what is there. At the end of the day, if you engage them, it becomes a skit. And at the end of the day, you drive past. So if you are talking about persons that will manage human beings at that level, and some of them having opportunities to wear the weapons, I think our recruitment process must be looked at critically once again.
Thank you so much.